Twila.
And I'm Natalie.
And this is Twila and Natalie,
where we like to chat with you and each other about the joys, the pitfalls of being a grown woman.
Absolutely. So every week we ask a question. Usually it's something that pertains to us and the lives that we're living, and we talk it out. And hopefully when we're talking it out, we can hit on some sort of universal truth that is helpful to us and you as well.
That's right.
So this week you asked a question.
Yeah. This week I had to ask myself, and I wanted to ask Twila this question as well, and all of you. Are you a food shamer?
Yep.
Now think about it. Marinate in the idea.
Okay, wait, hold on. Well, yep.
You know, we live in this age, especially with social media.
Yeah.
Where, many of us take pictures of our food before we even eat it, share it to social media, whether it's something we made and we're proud of or something fabulous that we're having in a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And today more than ever, many of us are committed to a certain way of eating. Used to be you either ate meat or you were a vegetarian, and those were the two choices.
Yeah, there's all kinds of segments of the population.
Yeah, now we have vegan. Now we have people who don't eat gluten or who don't eat dairy or who eat paleo or who eat, and it goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
And the differences in how people eat does not bother me one iota. I'm used to asking now, especially if it's a younger child coming over, asking the parents, does he have any dietary restrictions?
Yeah, are there any allergies or anything? Yeah.
Yeah, do I need to hide the peanut butter?
Yep. That's a real thing, though.
Totally a thing. But in our pursuit of our own diets and finding, I think we're more educated today than we ever were on finding what fuels our body the best. And I'm a believer in it's not the same for every single one of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Twila is a vegan.
Yes,
I feel like if I went vegan, I'd die.
You wouldn't die.
In theory, I do amazingly well, with meat. For me, I eat more paleo, and my reasons are I have some autoimmune issues, and staying away from foods that are inflammatory helps keep my autoimmune issues in check.
Right.
But I don't go and to somebody else who's not eating paleo, or someone who is eating, a ton of bread and being like, oh my God, that's horrible for you. It's horrible for me. It will cause me to barely be able to get out of bed 3 days after I eat it. Because if it kicks in, I have Hashimoto's, which causes extreme fatigue, bad joint pain. And when I eat foods that cause inflammation, that's what happens to me.
Right.
Doesn't mean it happens to everybody else.
Right. And it doesn't mean that you're putting yourself in a position to sort of be like the food judge or food court.
Yeah, I'm not the food police.
I am. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm really not. Like, I think what happens, I think part of what happens sometimes in these discussions is people hear what kind of sort of food person you are, like how you adhere to your lifestyle. And there's sort of notions that come with that make people immediately panic that you're either going to judge them or that you're going to suck all the fun out of it.
Did you ever think, Twila, that we would be at a point as a society where I find myself thinking, God, I miss the days when we just judged each other based off religion and sexuality, Now there are so many more things that we judge each other on, and this whole food thing and food shaming has become such a big thing. And when the concept of food shaming started, it started in relation to somebody's weight. That is now the least of it. I see more. I would say it's not, well, don't eat that because it's going to make you fat.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's that type of food shaming.
Yeah.
But then there's, oh my God, how could you possibly? And what I love about you, Twila, being vegan is I could sit here eating a Spam sandwich and she's not going to say a word about it.
Yeah, I'll have sense memory usually because I ate meat for a long time. So you like when you talk about your love of Spam, I always laugh and I'm like, girl. I mean, I remember growing up eating it. I had a quality Spam sandwich or two in my day, but it's out. Sometimes I'll just go, well, that's not for me anymore. I'm glad somebody still enjoys it, but I mean, it's your choice, it's your body. You get to
exactly
do what you want.
is. And when I find myself, and I'd like to think, and this is what I got to kind of ask myself and work through here is, do I actually food shame? For me, it's in my household, and I'll have one of my kids will want a specific yogurt. And I'll say, and he's very particular about what he eats. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to tell you why I don't want to get that yogurt. It has a sugar substitute in it called aspartame.
Right.
And I kind of talked to him a bit about how that affects his body. And it's worse than the actual sugar. And we limit sugar in our house for a multitude of reasons. One, for me, because it's inflammatory. Mm-hmm. And for one of the kids, it amplifies his ADHD issues.
Right.
And there's no downside to not eating a lot of sugar. There just isn't.
Yeah.
So I try to approach
before we
it.
get sued by the sugar industry.
Yeah. There's no downside to, doing it in some heavy moderation.
Yeah.
But there's many things, ways that it can affect your body.
We all take
badly.
in way more than we should.
Yeah, exactly. I love a good dessert that has, sugar in it just as well. But I try to, because for me it causes inflammation, pain, and it affects my ability to live my life every day. I have to be more strict about it. It's not that way for everyone else that lives in my house. So
right.
I like to think I educate a little bit more with them, but I had to ask myself, I also don't want them to feel guilt about it. We don't do it around weight. That's one thing we never hear at my house. Stop eating that. It's going to make you fat.
Yeah,
or you're going to gain weight. We stay away from that. I raised girls and now I'm raising young boys. It really has to do with health and how it best fuels your body.
Right.
You can't just eat rolls all day and expect to do well in school.
You can't be a good breaditarian and live well.
But do you see on social media? Do you see like sometimes you got friends who?
Here's what I'll say. I do two things. One, I do food shame in a very specific fashion, and my sister knows this because she'll be the one who like yells at me when she hears this.
Yeah.
I always give her crap when she's like, she calls me on her lunch break and she'll be like, hold on. And she'll be like, yeah, I want a number 7 or whatever. Like, and I'll be like, what are you eating? And she'll say, I'm eating, X, Y, or Z. And I'm like, don't eat that. Yeah. And she'll be like, why? I'm like, because you should be eating some vegetables. You should be getting a solid protein. Yeah. You should be eating all those. And it, like, whatever it is. But I do that like, because one, I can get away with it because I'm like the second mom. And two, because genuinely, I want her to feel healthy because she does a lot. Like she's just a super active person and she does a lot of things and she works really hard. And I just, now that I know more about how to fuel your body, I'm always trying to like, zhuzh in there, like you can fuel your body better doing this, whatever. Yeah. But she knows I just give her a hard time. Like she can totally do what she wants to do and it's fine. It's just, I love you. And of course I'm going to say it, but on social media, I will say this. I'm like a secret food shamer, I guess. Because
so you don't food shame them directly. You just kind of log out of Twitter and be like, I can't believe that girl just ate that.
Or like, I won't, like, I have a thing where, like what a lot you see on social media are two extremes, at least with the stuff that I follow. Mm-hmm. It's really healthy stuff. So I'll go through and like the things that I think look cool or look really, appetizing that fit into my diet plan. But I will also like see something that is, there's a trend right now, and I don't know how long it's been going on, but it feels like it's almost at the apex of it, where you do the most outrageous, overdone presentation of something. Like instead of being one burger, it's like 10 burger patties on a hamburger.
Sure.
Or it's like, or it's like a Dagwood sandwich on crack. It's like 27 cold cuts, 4 pickles, 8 onion rings, whatever. Or like I just saw this thing the other day. And I don't know what restaurant it's from. I'll look it up for the syllabus. But it was like a cheeseburger, but it was dipped in melted in like the nacho cheese or like the queso cheese.
Yeah.
So when they served it to you, it was impossible to pick up because it was basically like completely submerged in a bucket of cheese and then presented to you.
Wow.
And I always used to say, I say to my kids a lot, in my old days, that would have been my thing. In my teenage days, that would have been my thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm also like, it gives me heartburn just looking at it now.
Yeah, and that's part of it. And I think with when we talk about we have different dietary restrictions, and you got to know what your limits are for you. Where I get upset and where I feel I have to like step back because I know I'm about to food shame somebody, but I feel for me I don't care that you're going to eat a meal that for me would cause huge amounts of inflammation and seriously affect, like I said, my day-to-day normal ability to do things.
Right.
But if I know for a fact, because on social media last week, you were talking, let's just for example's sake, say somebody else has Hashimoto's like me. Mm-hmm. And they were sharing about their joint pain, how their hair was coming out and sharing other issues and they're really struggling. And I can have compassion for that. And like, wow, I get it, because I live it as well at times. Mm-hmm. And then 1 week later, you're posting photo after photo of you eating nothing but junk food filled with sugar and other inflammatory things that would make you, it makes you sick. So this, what I'm saying?
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. My perspective on that is always, well, you did that to yourself. Like I don't have, I don't have a lot. Like I don't get angry at it. I don't get upset with it. I just get more like, well, girl, that's called karma. Like you listen, you do your intestines wrong, they're gonna do you wrong later on.
I know, and it's normally, I find it interesting to me because there's not much that really sets me off or gets me upset. I'm pretty fairly even keeled.
Yeah, you are.
Just about everything, but this pisses me off.
Well,
it's hurt to me. I see it. It's no different than you're taking a knife and you're cutting yourself on your arm. You are intentionally. You are breaking your own arm even. And I'm guilty of it. It took me a while to really, when I learned, and sometimes it's a lack of education. You don't realize that when you have an autoimmune disease, you should be on an anti-inflammatory style diet. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
And it's becoming more and more known. Now, I'm using this example because this is one I can relate to. Depending on your physical condition.
I just feel like you're really mad.
I am mad. I mean, if you get on really social media and you complain about and you're sharing about your diabetes and your struggles, I get it. I can have compassion for you. Mm-hmm. But then you go post photo after photo of you eating a bunch of sugar-laden crap that's going to make your diabetes worse. I have a hard time with that.
But see, I don't have a hard time with that. It makes me sad for you that you're not.
Yeah, but you're able to separate it out. I don't know why I can't disconnect from it. I feel like I want to call them up and go, honey, here's the deal. Do you know this? Can you know this? You need to stop doing that. You're hurting yourself.
Yeah, and I'm not, and not even that I don't agree that that's what's happening or that I would want them to know that. But I suppose I have a very specific, and honestly, I think most of that comes out of what's my experience of being a vegan now, and I was a vegetarian for years before that. There's a point at which when you make a decision for yourself, as an adult, you just want your decision to be respected. People might not like it. People might not get it. People might think it's a nuisance to them. I can't tell you how many times I show up at like people's houses who are friends of mine, who know me, who have invited me and my family over, and then they look me in the face and go, oh, I forgot. Like, you don't eat. And it's not a secret that I don't eat it. Yeah. So I show up and it's like a dinner party and I get to eat, like lettuce. And not that lettuce is bad. It's just when I sit down, when you invite me for a meal, I want a meal, or we get someplace and somebody will be like, oh yeah, I made the salad. I totally forgot I put like cheese all over it. Like I always call those like, like the casual error, of, and it's casual because it's like being thoughtlessly casual about it.
Sure.
Where it's like, okay, I get it. You invited me into your space, and you were thinking about all these people, and you shouldn't have to alter everything for one. But you should make sure that one who isn't going to be able to partake in these things, either give me a heads up and call me and say, hey, you might want to bring something.
Yeah, because you would totally do that. You would bring something.
Or give me a heads up that you totally forgot you didn't take care of it, so that maybe I can eat a little something before I get there, so I'm not like struggling.
Yeah, sure.
Whatever it is. But at the same time, it's always like I take responsibility for me. So I don't give you crap when I show up at your dinner party and you don't have any food for me. I don't give you any crap when we show up and it's like an occasion and there's nothing really there for me. I just know this is my choice. I made this choice.
Yeah.
And the only thing I want from you is to respect that choice. You don't even have to like go out, bend over backwards to help me.
Yeah.
But don't give me crap about my choice. So if I get there and they're
so don't shame you in that regard. Food shame you for having that choice.
Yeah. Like I get a lot of, oh, you're vegan? I could never do that. Well, I didn't ask you to do it.
Yeah. I'm not asking
I genuinely am not about to ask you to. So you don't have to tell me that you could never.
It is. And that is an interesting point with human interaction. I find that with, I've stopped drinking and I've been sober now for almost a couple months. And I'll just casually be like, oh yeah, I stopped drinking. And if sometimes I'll get that same reaction. Oh, I could never do that.
I could never do that.
Well, good thing I'm not asking you to. That's like saying, if I say, God, I had amazing sex last night. And you're like, oh, I'm like, I didn't ask you to have sex with my man. I'm just telling you I did.
Yeah, I'm good.
You don't need to jump on this train.
Right. It's like, it's my decisions as a person aren't necessarily an admonishment to your decisions as a person.
Yeah, exactly. Because I've decided to eat this way. And I'll go off the train and, I'll make the decision that, okay, you know what? there is something coming up and I haven't eaten this in a long time and I know I'll pay for it later, but I'm going to do it anyways. And it's rare, but I have done that. And then I live with the consequence. I don't then turn around and go, oh my gosh, oh, this is happening now. I did it to myself.
Right, you made a choice.
I made the choice. I knew it was
feeling.
going to happen. So, and maybe part of this issue for me is just like, when you know you made the choice, then shut up, buck up, you get through it, do it again or don't do it again. But you can't keep playing the, I want compassion, I want understanding, but you're not actually doing something to make your situation better.
Yeah, you're not a victim of the things that you ate.
Yeah,
you chose to eat them.
And maybe I'm making this about food, but really underneath what bugs me about it, it's just that idea. If you continue to put something out that's a problem, but you're not actually doing something about it, and you're actually knowingly doing things that make it worse.
Oh no, I agree with that wholeheartedly. You
Yeah.
can't. And there's a thing that kind of happens among people where you want to have compassion and you try your best to be compassionate, but there are people in the world that we know are, your classic, they're just the Debbie Downer. They can't they're not going to find happiness in any of it. And so you can call that person and say, listen, I feel so bad about, your situation. And if you would just eat a little bit better here, let me share some of my resources with you. Yeah. And I'm sure it'll be helpful to you. And you go out of your way. You do all this stuff to kind of be supportive of them. And then 2 days later, they're like, oh, I ate this thing and it just really bothered me. And I'm so uncomfortable. And then you're like, well, what did you eat? And then they tell you, oh, I had this like sandwich and a hoagie roll. And it's like, but you're gluten free.
Yeah.
Well, but I was so hungry and there was no other option. There's nothing else to eat. So I just had to grab something. Yeah. And now I'm suffering. And it's like, no, you're just making it worse.
Yeah. This is a consequence of what your actions were.
Right. You're doing this to yourself.
Yeah. And again, to be very clear, I'm specifically talking about, I have health issues that dictate how I eat, that when I maintain a certain diet, it helps me to feel better. I don't believe that the world should be gluten-free. I don't believe that everybody should stop drinking. This is what I need to do.
So is this wrong that I just want everybody to stop eating meat now?
Just stop eating meat?
Yeah. Like I kind of do. Like
now
gosh. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm not a philosophical vegan. I still have all my leather belts. I still have all my leather shoes. Yeah. Please don't send me emails. I believe in just having things and fair using things until they're of no longer being useful. I don't go buy new things, but I'm a giant thrift shopper. So I try to reuse. I try to make the planet a little bit of a less of a footprint for myself. But I started eating like this because it started as a joke. I wanted to live to 150. I genuinely do. And in order to live, as a healthy person, long term, with a stronger enough body, a strong mind, I have a lot of things that are predisposed in my family, genetic conditions and, good old fashioned, conditions that plague my people and plague my family. Sure. That I'm trying to buck the system by doing better by my body.
Yeah. And so becoming vegan then helps to improve those things for
and
you.
It's helped improve a lot of those things. Yeah. And it was a commitment I was willing to make. But as I jumped in it, I didn't jump in it for this altruistic reason that I wanted all the cows to live. I jumped in it because I wanted to live a long time. It was a very selfish reason. But now that I'm in it and I'm getting educated and I'm learning things I didn't know before, it's not even about, and I'll be honest, it still isn't really totally about like saving the cows. It really is more about, hey, you guys, we could probably live better and longer and with less of a footprint on the world and, and kind of maybe even save the planet if we would just extract a couple of things from our everyday. Yeah. Let's actually consider it. And I still don't even do that sort of in a, like in a casual, like, over chips and dip, like, have you considered being a vegan? Because it would save the planet. I don't do that.
But don't you still recognize, though, that even though it's handling those issues for you, that being vegan will not work for everybody else necessarily?
Nope. I think it works for everybody. I think
that is
the program works if you work it. That's what I say. No, I genuinely don't know. I think I do agree with you that everybody's bodies are sort of calibrated differently.
And when you talk about your background and your family history, my background, my family history is different, and I come from a very long line of meat eaters, especially pork. I mean, you're talking to someone who, the one time in the last 15 years that I did go to the state fair, and I think I told you this, Twila, I hadn't been in years, And we go into this one area, and there are these like heating lamps, and there's pork in there. And I'm like, where do they serve them? And my girlfriend who brought me to the fair, and I'm still apologizing to this day for saying this because it traumatized her so bad. She goes, those are the babies. The heating lamps are to keep them warm because we were in some kind of birth center. You know where they have all the babies?
You were in the Miracle of Life Center.
Yeah. I thought it was like prepping them for the buffet.
Okay, wait, hold on. We have to give context because there are going to be people listening to the show that aren't from where we're from. We live in the Midwest. We have a giant state fair, and part of our state fair is, like 4-H related, farming related activities. So there's lots of animals being born. There are animals that are being sort of judged in competition.
Mm-hmm.
There are all kinds of food stalls and things like that. Everything on a stick you can find at our fair. But one of the most well-populated areas of the fair is the Miracle of Life Center, which is basically where you go to see all different kinds of babies that would live on farms being born.
I thought it was part of the cooking process. I wish I could even say I was joking. I was dead serious.
At the Asian grocery, like, I want that one, and you can barbecue it, that one, and you can fry that one up.
When you are raised that way, my kids go to the dentist's office, see the fish tanks, and they're picking out the ones they want to eat. We're also big sushi eaters, you know?
I would have had so much fun if I had been with you at the fair.
And I was mortified because my girlfriend I was with was so mortified. And she's an animal lover, and I'm not saying I don't love animals. I love animals, but I love to eat animals even more. I cannot, and pork, for me, pork is the be all end all. Yeah. I love pork. And I'm Hawaiian. I grew up in Hawaii. We eat a lot of pork. It's like pork everything.
Right.
My house constantly smells like pork. I'm either making bacon or I'm making a Hawaiian kalua pork dish or I'm frying Spam.
I cannot. Okay, just for the record, I cannot wait till we get the letters for the topic of food shaming from all the people that are like, you still eat pork and blah 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 blah. You're gonna get, girl. I'm gonna print those out.
Yeah, we'll read them on
highlight them. I'm gonna put glitter on them. Everything. It's gonna be so much fun.
I love it. But you know what? Doesn't hurt my body. I do really well with it.
Right. That's your. But that's your. Yeah. It's your choice.
I have great cholesterol, my blood pressure, all these other things. My heart is in phenomenal shape. I've had it all checked out over the last couple of years.
Now I will admit this. I don't necessarily food shame people for what they choose to put into their body. Mm-hmm. And I kind of always think as long as you got another day, you got another chance to make a better decision. So you can, if tomorrow's the day you want to go vegan for a day, hey, go for it. If tomorrow's the day you want to try a Spam sandwich, hey, go for it.
Sure.
But I will say this, I don't get food shamed. Sometimes I get shamed for worshiping my food too much. And the perfect example of that is I just came back from a vacation, and I don't think we ate one meal where we didn't take 12 pictures of it before we started to eat it. And the funny part was we all took these pictures, and I don't know who they were for because we were all together. Like my husband and I will take pictures.
Did you post the photos on social media?
No, I haven't even done that.
That's the whole point, Twila.
No, see, that's usually not my point. Usually when I take pictures
check in
of
at
food,
the restaurant, you share a photo of what it is.
Nope. Usually I take pictures so that if my kids aren't with me, they can see the cool thing that I ate, or I'll send it to like my sister and say, look, this is the cool thing.
Do you re-look at these food pictures on your own?
Yeah.
So for you, it's like porn.
I just showed you a picture like a half an hour ago.
That's right.
Yeah, I do.
She's like, look at my sandwich.
Yeah,
then I took a picture of the sandwich from here. Yeah. So you are into food porn in a big way.
Yeah,
you
I'm
keep
into
it.
Food.
You keep it for your own personal spank bank. I mean, that's your own.
I don't go that far. I mean, I might try to recreate the dish later.
You were revisiting photos of food on your own by yourself. You're not showing somebody. I mean, that's kind of like porn.
No, it isn't. It's like writing in a journal. Like it's like a memory. It's kind of like a photo history of like an experience that I have. So, and I like it because I'm always looking for inspiration. So, sure. I mean, but it kind of it always entertains me that we all do this. And now there's 3 of us that have a phone, my husband, myself, and my oldest child.
And you're all taking pictures of the same food.
Yeah. And that's the funny part. It's the same food, the same, the same table, the same time. And we're all like, wait, hold on. I'm going to take one picture. Wait. I'm going to take it from here. Wait. And I could see at a couple of places we were at, I could see people looking at us like doing the like,
I try to be inconspicuous about it.
I
because
don't.
I'm embarrassed to take pictures of my food because it's so cliche.
Why?
Because it's so cliche.
No, it isn't.
Oh, Twila, it totally is. So
Okay.
I do it real inconspicuously. I pretend I'm texting. Because
I do
texting at the
not.
table is less rude than taking
You know
a
what
picture
I
of your
do?
food.
I am so conspicuous that I tell them, hey, can you sit me by the windows because the natural light is better. And if I'm going to look at this again later, I don't want it to look all ashy like I didn't enjoy it because it'll color my memory of if I enjoyed it or not. But if it looks pretty, then we're all in. Sometimes I take pictures of food I'm never even going to get to eat. I was just at some fancy new restaurant that opened and had this beautiful display case of baked goods. I can't eat any of that. It was all butter, sugar, milk, all of it.
Yeah.
But it looked really pretty, so I took a picture of it.
Yeah, I
And
like
was
to look at those things too.
And I was like, well, maybe one day, like maybe we'll bake, or maybe it'll inspire me to go try to bake a vegan cupcake or something. But I don't have any. But then again, like I said, what have we always said about me?
Well, how far do you go around taking pictures of other people's food in the restaurant? I knew it. I know it. You have a problem.
No, I will say this: we don't purposefully like go up to somebody and be like, "Can I take a picture of your food?" But sometimes we'll see something like come out of the kitchen, or actually, here's what we do. A lot of times when we go someplace new that's like it's a type of food we've never had before or whatever, we'll order the food, and if there's anywhere like if you could see in the kitchen or sit where the kitchen is, or like they have like an area where they're preparing it and you can see it, we always ask, hey, can we come check that out?
Sure.
Because we're super curious about it. So like we were in Chicago and we went to this place where they did hand-pulled Chinese noodles.
Oh, wow.
And so I couldn't eat the noodles. I can't actually eat hand-pulled noodles. They have egg and stuff in them. But my family could. So they ordered those noodles and then the guy was making them. And my husband just asked, like nobody was really standing there. It was kind of off to the side, not really where customers were. And my husband's like, hey, can me and my kids come see you do that? And he's like, yeah, sure. So we do that. Like we'll go sit at we'll sit right there at the counter. And and the place, the sandwiches I just showed you on my phone.
Yeah.
They were cooking right in front of us, but they had like the big garden and stuff up.
Ah, yeah.
So I asked him, I wasn't rude. I asked him, I was like, that looks so awesome. Can I take a picture of that? I don't want to get in the way from it or contaminate your food.
Sure.
He was like, yeah. She said, just pop the camera up over the top. So I reached up over the top, took a couple pictures with my phone and kept on going.
I'll do that at a sushi restaurant,
so
when they're putting together the rolls and stuff.
Yeah, that's technically me taking pictures of other people's food. or if we go out as a big group, like if there's a big, large group of us, sometimes I will take pictures of my friends'
But
food
at least they're
cool.
at your table.
Yeah. I mean, I've never actually walked up to a stranger and been like, girl, that looks great. Can I take a picture of that?
Yeah.
Thanks. Aces. Yeah, I'm not that crazy. But I won't say, I will ask you what you're eating. I will like, if you're next to me at the table, we'll be like, hey, that looks awesome. What is that?
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, like we will ask, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
Like we'll do that. But and so obviously I've just proven that my family have no boundaries in public when it comes to food. So
I have to admit though, I did do that recently. We were in Chicago and this table of guys ordered what was somehow the specialty. It was like a triple stacked chicken and waffles I swear to God, it was 8 inches high. And I was like, oh my gosh, can I take a picture of that? And it was rude and I regret doing it because I didn't even wait for them to answer. I don't know what was wrong with me. I was so I could not believe what I was seeing.
Yeah, it was in real life.
It looked so phenomenal. It looked so good. I mean, I knew it would kill me if I ate it, but it looked so good. And I could tell they were peeved. And then I realized also, I looked closer at these guys and I realized they were like SWAT team members.
Oh.
I'm like,
they're like, we ain't got no time for this.
I'm not going to put like your picture on the internet or anything.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at your food. I just backed away. So sorry.
You're nice.
See,
I'm usually just like, you'll be all right. It's just a waffle. Be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm well, I guess what's occurring to me now is that maybe I don't food shame people, but I should probably be more ashamed of how I act around food. Oh, well, it could be worse. Yeah. So I suppose that means we should ask the question again and see if we're actually living up to this. Are you a food shamer?
I would have to admit to being a food shamer when I know that what you're eating is going to make you sick for you personally. That's a complicated answer.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is a yes or no question.
Care.
This is
but
a yes or no question.
I would have to say I'm 3/4 not a food shamer because I don't care what people eat. They don't need to eat the way I eat.
Okay, I just sat here with you for the last 28 minutes and I'm calling shenanigans. You are a shamer. You shame.
Well, I don't shame them publicly. I don't then comment. Hey, heifer, you just were complaining a week ago about your diabetes. Why are you now eating this?
Point of
Maybe
order.
I should.
Point of order.
What?
You just said this on a podcast. You do publicly shame.
Oh, I forgot.
I'm just putting that out there.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Technically, whoever this mystery person is going to listen to say a podcast and be like,
look,
that heifer is talking about me.
If you think it's you, it's not. There are many of you.
And she's talking about you.
There are so many. I'm speaking about you as a collective.
Yeah, so I guess my answer
Yeah, I guess yes, I have to say.
Yeah,
you're
your
right.
answer
I
is
am.
yes.
I'm a food shamer.
Yeah, I would say my answer is yes, with the caveat that apparently I should be more ashamed of how I act around food. So
That's right. You need to tone it down with the food porn.
I need to do better. That's okay. All right. As always, we want to hear what you think. Go to the Facebook page. Go to Facebook. Type in Matriarch Digital Media. If you haven't joined, like the page. It's great. And on the right-hand side, there's a send message option. Hit that message and send us a message. Let us know. Just hashtag it Twila and Natalie so you know where you're talking about us.
Send Twila pictures of your food. She'd like that.
Listen,
she'll put it in her little private stash.
If it's vegan, I will. I'm not going to lie. I might even ask you for a recipe. It's
she
fine.
might look at it after dark.
You're ridiculous. Email the show. Let us know what you're thinking. Share where you think you get food shamed. Share what you think of in terms of some of the situations we talked about, like taking pictures of food at restaurants or people that you know maybe aren't treating themselves as kindly and maybe should treat their bodies a little bit better. We want to hear all of your opinions. Eventually, we'll get a fun little mailbag show going here, and we'll be able to share some of our thoughts and some of your thoughts about what we think, and we're looking forward to that as well. So, As always, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.